Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the first edition of Self-Care Sundays with me, Katie Ploss. I am so excited you're here and showing a commitment to getting started on this self-care journey with me. I was inspired to create this video series due to all of what's gone on in the year 2020. So if you're watching this and it's not the year 2020, congratulations. This has been a really tough year for all of us, and I think that we need to engage in self-care to fill up our cup more than ever right now. So throughout this series, you're going to hear me talk about filling up your cup quite a bit. It's kind of my catchphrase. How do you fill your cup? By you being here this week and starting this video series with me on the first one, you are committed to filling your cup. And for that, I am so proud of you. So a little bit about me before I kind of jump into today's topic. My name is Katie Ploss. I am a therapist at Galvin Growth Group, a personal growth and psychology practice located in Novi, Michigan. In addition to that, I also work full-time as a school psychologist in a public school setting in Oakland County, Michigan as well. So I love what I do. I do primarily work with children and teens, but in my private practice work, I also do work with adults. I have my background in child development, school psychology, as well as doula work. So I've just always been very enthralled with the idea of emotionally supporting children and women in their home life, school life, personal life, etc. So self-care kind of is incorporated into all of what I do, and I'm really excited to share some of my knowledge with all of you. By watching this video, you are investing in yourself, and you are investing in self-care. So I am so proud of you, and I am so excited that you're here. So today's video topic is, what is self-care? So self-care is lots of things, and self-care is everything that fills your cup. So you're going to maybe be a little bit surprised on what some of my video topics are every week, because I'm not going to be spending all of our time talking about meditation and mindfulness and journaling. I will talk about some of those things because they are therapeutic in nature and they do have utility, and there's lots of research to support their usefulness. But I think when you research what self-care is, there's so much content on that already. And I think that's really easy for you all to find. I want to focus on things on self-care that aren't as easy to find and aren't as talked about as much. When you really start to peel back the layers of self-care, and I want you to ask yourself this question. When you do a self-care activity, so when you go get your nails done, or you journal, or you read a book, or you plan a vacation, or you go on a vacation, are there ever times that you engage in that and you feel like that really should have filled me up and it didn't? And what is that about? And that's really what I want to explore with you in this video series. I really want to explore when the stuff that we do and the stuff that we surround ourselves with isn't filling our cup. What does that mean, and how can we address that so we can really engage in self-care? So self-care is literally everything that fills your cup. So it's more than just doing those little things to fill you up. So it might be that you need to get organized. That's the form of self-care. Or you need to work on your relationships. That's a form of self-care. So there's lots of things that you might not necessarily think of as self-care that I'm going to be addressing with you. And today I want to look at what those layers of self-care are. So I want to take a wide lens to start, and I want to look at with you, what are the different layers of self-care and how do they apply to you? I'm about to show you a diagram that's called the layers of self-care. And I want you to, when you're looking at that layer, I want you to look at the different components of that layer. And I want you to identify where you're at. Where are you falling in that pyramid right now. And I'll prompt you again at the end to really think about it as I explain each layer, because that is super important into what activities you need to engage in order to fill your cup. So if you're on a different layer than the layer of hair and nails and TV, doing those things may not fill your cup right now. It's not that it never will, it's just that right now you're somewhere else. So honoring your needs and honoring where you are is really important to engaging in self-care in a meaningful way that's going to make a meaningful difference to you in that moment. So this is the layers of self-care diagram that I was talking about. It was created by a therapist that is on Instagram called Sit With Wit. She has lots of amazing content related to self-care, related to mental health, related to relationships, setting boundaries, just lots of different things that I think are useful for basically anybody. Her handle is right here on the screen, Sit With Wit. For the longest time I was following her, I literally thought it said Sit With It, which is very clever and obviously like what she was going for. But don't forget that WH when you're searching her on Instagram in your search bar. She also has lots of cool workbooks and things you can purchase and download. So I highly recommend checking her out. I probably will be using lots of content from her that she creates just because it's so lovely and such a great illustration of what I'm trying to get across to you guys. So for the layers of self-care, I think this is really peeling back what self-care is. I think when you ask somebody, do you know what self-care is? Most of you are going to say, yeah, Katie, I know what self-care is. I don't live under a rock. So looking at the bottom here of hygiene and access to resources, financial health, home, sleep, eating, staying hydrated, personal and community safety. If you're not able to meet your needs on that bottom part of the pyramid, I'm not sure that going to the hair salon is your top priority right now. Your top priority right now is to feel safe. And your top priority right now is to have a roof over your head. And this just kind of shows that that is the building block, because really what you need to fulfill yourself at a bare minimum is keeping yourself alive and keeping yourself safe. The next one, I think a lot more people get stuck in, myself included. Raise your hand if you're not a good boundary setter. I will talk about setting boundaries a lot. I know a lot about self-care because I've done a lot of research on it, and I work with a lot of clients that need support in that area too, but it doesn't necessarily mean that I exclusively always am practicing self-care in the way that I intend to. And I think that's because I'm a human being and I'm on this journey with you. So when I'm making these videos and I'm talking about these different aspects of self-care, I am not, exclusively, and I'm talking about me too. And I'm a human having an experience just like you. And so I sometimes do struggle in this foundational area, and that's okay. So setting boundaries, saying no, saying yes. I mean, just really having those boundaries for you that fill your cup. Having healthy relationships, having a community of people that you can rely on for support. Honoring your needs and boundary setting go together really well. Having self-compassion, self-love. I think there's so many amazing activities, and I'm going to make a video about self-love and self-compassion because I think it's so important when we talk about self-care, because really what you are doing is loving yourself when you're caring for yourself. So part of that is having fun, self-compassion, resting, taking care of your body and your mind. Inner child work is one that you may not necessarily know what that is, and I'm going to also do a video on that. But inner child work essentially is having needs. Your emotional needs may not have necessarily been met as a child, and so a lot of us have to go back and work through some of those things in order for these patterns to not show up in our lives. I believe that everybody has an inner child, but some of us had our needs met and some of us did not. So that's what inner child work focuses on. And I'll talk more about that. the next, the next 3 layers, I think, are really what people associate self-care with. And these are really the activities that you can engage in that potentially could really support the foundational needs that that are driving the bus. So, spending time doing journaling or self-reflection can really play into that inner child work. Creating art, things like that can really help your mind kind of catch up with what your true needs really are. So these layers aren't really independently exclusive of one another, and they're not really better or worse than the other. They relate to one another. So, but it's important to remember that when we're looking at this. But the third layer, I think sometimes we forget that prioritizing budgeting and saving and creating order and organization is self-care. Getting off the couch and stop binging Netflix in order to organize your closet can indeed be self-care if you're putting it off and you're making yourself feel icky for just kind of feeling lazy. That is not necessarily self-care, but sometimes doing that work, accomplishing that task is a form of self-care. Sometimes not accomplishing the task is a form of self-care. That's the beauty of self-care. It's super fluid and it's what you need in this moment. And I hope that through this video series, you're going to understand how to identify what your needs are in the moment in order to listen to your mind and to your body, and honor that, because that is what self-care is honoring you. Like I said, I'm going to link the picture of this into the comments. I want you guys to take a look at it again after this video. Really think about, for your self-care challenge that's going to be coming up, that we're going to be starting together after this week. What things in this can you prioritize, and what do you want to prioritize with your 30-day challenge in order to really take care of yourself? What do you really need in this pyramid? Where do you sit in this pyramid? Honestly, and I'll just be blunt right now, I'm sitting toward the bottom. Like boundary setting, relationships, honoring my needs, self-compassion, self-love. 2020 has been a hard year for all of us, and I think a lot of us, even safety and access to resources, a lot of us are down at the bottom right now. So I don't want you to be watching this and being like, oh my God, I'm super overwhelmed. We're all overwhelmed, and that is why this is so necessary right now. If that is where you are, I am here with you. I am excited to go on this journey with you, and self-care and prioritizing you for the next 30 days. So that is the layers of self-care. Check out the pictures in the comments to take a look at that picture more in depth after this video. So what does this all mean, and how are we going to accomplish getting that self-care that you desperately need? Well, I am challenging you right now to a 30-day self-care challenge. So it's going to start next week, so I don't want you to panic. You don't have to do it right now, but together I'm going to engage in this with you. So starting next Sunday, we are going to launch our 30-day self-care challenge. So what that means is that your homework for this week, did I say homework? Did you think you were going to get homework during this? Is if you're committed and you're ready to saddle up with me and try this out, I want you to either incorporate it into your regular calendar that you use, print out a calendar, Google Calendar format, print it off, write it in, whatever works for you. But I want you this week to think about, in 30 days, what can you do every day to incorporate self-care into your daily life? Try it for 30 days. At the end of the 30 days, if you are like, that was the worst thing I ever did, you never have to do it again. But I guarantee you're going to walk away from this 30 days feeling rested, rejuvenated, and inspired. And that is really the goal of this video series, is to inspire you to incorporate self-care into your daily life. You can get creative with this. You can do the same activity. I don't want you to do the one activity for 30 days. I want you to kind of get creative and do at least 7. So the minimum, pick 7 things that you can do once a week to incorporate into self-care. Now, let me use an example. You might work out 4 days a week. I don't want you to just use exercise as your one form of self-care. Challenge yourself. If that's something that you already do 4, 5, 6, 7 days a week, that can be one of your things that you put, but challenge yourself to add something else. How else can you incorporate self-care? Use that layer of self-care diagram. Look at it and really challenge yourself into thinking of other things that you could do. Also going to put a link in the comments section as well to an article that has 101 different self-care activities. So theoretically, you don't have to pick just 7 things to do once a week. You could pick 30 different things that you could do. There's 101 ideas in this article. I hope that they give you a plethora of ideas and that with the pyramid together, you have no scarcity in finding ideas of how to challenge yourself for these 30 days. So by next Sunday, you're going to have your 30-day challenge planned out. We're going to kick it off together and we're going to get through this together. I will be sharing my calendar with you as well. I am really needing some self-care right now, and I think that a lot of us are. And let's do it together. Let's make this, a community-based effort. Also, if you engage in this challenge with me, you have a chance of winning a free shirt. So I will also unveil the design for the shirt next week at the start of our 30-day challenge, but it is going to be super awesome and something that you'll want to try to win. So if you sign up for our challenge by just watching our videos each week and liking, sharing, commenting, engaging with our page in some way. So you can share our videos. You can like and follow our Galvin Growth Group Facebook page, which you may be watching this on right now. You can follow us on Instagram at Galvin Growth Group, or you can comment and just interact with our page. Any one of those can enter you into our t-shirt giveaway. As always, Galvin Growth Group is accepting new clients as well. So if you're watching this and you're like, this is really awesome, but I really need to dive in and I really need to dig in one-on-one with a therapist, with me maybe, with one of our, very wonderfully qualified team of therapists, we have somebody that's a fit for you. And check out our website, www.galvingrowthgroup.com, and check out our team page and pick a therapist. Give us a call, drop us an email on our contact tab on the website, and we can get started with you almost right away and really focus on this self-care with you on a one-on-one individualized base level. So again, lots of options for you as you start this journey. Maybe that's your self-care. Maybe this is part of your self-care challenge is starting to work with a therapist. Maybe it's something that you've thought about doing for a really long time, but you haven't made that leap. Even if you're not local to our office in Novi, Michigan, that is okay. We are offering telehealth. So you can, in the comfort of your own home, work with a therapist. What a wonderful opportunity that, you have to do that. So we offer cash-based services, insurance-based services. So definitely check us out. All right, that is all for me this week. I'm so excited to be getting started with you all, and I will see you next Sunday. Have a good week, and I hope you fill your cup.